All right, so we'll pop into the editor. We'll pop error 1. Okay, what do we got to do? This function. Oh, I should have the error display here, right? Continue at reset. One of the things I'm not thrilled with. I mean, this list is really cool, and the fact that you're going to go up and down, and you can say continue at. I'm not going to hit reset until we get to the very end because I don't want to. I don't know if it's going to ask me, "Are you sure you want to reset?" But then this is quit. This shouldn't be quit. This should be like return to Rustlings, right? That's what it should be, because you're not quitting. You're just switching back to the. You're quitting from the one display and you're switching back to the other display. So we'll see. We'll see if I make a PR for that. All right. So this function refuses to generate text to be printed on a name tag if you pass it an empty string. It'd be nicer if it explained what the problem was instead of just returning none. Thankfully, Rust has a similar construct to option. Yeah, we just finished options, right? In the previous stream. That can be used to express error conditions. Change the function signature and the body return to return result string instead of option string. Okay, I can change that. I haven't looked at the rest of the code yet, though. So if I just change it to result string, does that fix the whole problem? No, it doesn't. Oh, and then we have to do this. Okay, so empty names aren't allowed. Oh, I see. So if you look at the test, that's what it's expecting, that exact string. So if I just change this to error string, like that, right? And then this would be okay format. My name is whatever. All right. Oh, this has to be a toString. Or into, right? Into should work since it knows it's a string. But it still failed. Oh, okay. There's another PR. There's a little extra character there at the end. Okay, perfect. So that was errors 1. Next up is errors 2. All right, say we're writing a game where you can buy items with tokens. All items cost 5 tokens, and whenever you purchase items, there's a processing fee of 1 token. A player of the game will type in how many tokens they want to buy, and the total cost function will calculate the total cost of the items. Since the player typed in the quantity, we get it as a string. They might have typed anything, not just numbers. Right now, this function isn't handling the error case at all. What we want to do is if we call total cost function on a string that is not a number, that function will return a parse int error. In that case, we want to immediately return that error from our function and not try to multiply and add. There are at least 2 ways to implement this that are both correct, but one is a lot shorter. I think what they're trying to do is introduce the question mark operator, because parse, this function will already return I was hoping it would actually show that it actually already turns a parse int error. So I think all we need to do is put a question mark right there at the end. And now quantity will be an I32, and it will return either an I32 or a parse int error. If I don't put the question mark there, then quantity is the result. And that's why this is not compiling. So putting the question mark handles it. All right, let's see if that's all they're looking for. Yeah, that's it. Okay, good. Oops, next. So now we have error 3. This program is trying to use the completed version of the total cost function from the previous exercise. It's not working though. Why not? What should we do to fix it? Let's find out. And this is telling us here the question mark operator can only be used in a function that returns a result or an option or another type that implements from residual. Ooh. Okay, that's something I'm going to need to learn about, from residual. But meanwhile, this is returning a result, so it's okay for this to have a question mark. But the problem is that this is generating a question mark, or has a question mark, and main does not return anything. So there's a couple things we could do. We can change this to be expect, not a number. And that should work. Right? Or we could actually have main return result I32 parse int error. Oh, you can't. Oh, well, you can if you put the question mark. Oh, look at that. The trait termination is not implemented for I32 as is required by result. Ah. So it has to be a termination thing. That's something I just learned. It has to be that. But then this doesn't work because this is an I32 result. Right? Oh no, that worked. That allowed it to go through. So even though this is a result I32, we still can say because this will be returned as a parse int error, I guess, and then the result will work. All right, so I just learned something. This is why we're doing this. Very good. I don't know what the better solution is. It's probably better. I mean, if you're doing it for real, to put expect here. Actually, you know, if you want to get a good good user experience, you could do it. I'd do it a different way. I'd say if let OK cost this, else println you didn't enter a number. And then I need to fix something because I broke this here. There. So that's the way I would do it if I were trying to make something that would be user-friendly, right? We wouldn't be throwing an expect error with a Rust panic message, and we wouldn't be returning a parse int error, which would result in a weird message. But this is the way I would do it if I were making like a little CLI utility to do this. Right, we just print this out on standard error. Otherwise, we print out the correct answer on standard out. All right, that was errors 3. What's next? Errors 4. That's unsurprising. Error 4. All right, what do we got? There's a to-do. Here's the to-do. The to-do. This function shouldn't always return an OK. Oh, I see. We have a creation error. So we're expecting in the test positive non-zero integer. So we can see that our test failed. It would be nice if these were 3 separate tests. So we can see which ones are working, which ones are not working. But we're creating this struct of, and it should be an OK. Here, positive non-zero integer new negative 10 should give us a creation error negative, and a positive non-zero integer new 0 should give us a 0 error. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. We can do it as if value is less than 0, error, creation error negative, else if value equals 0, error. And I think this is going to, the Clippy is going to ask us to change this to a match. Creation error 0, else, OK. I should have left that before, right? It's just OK value as U64. Right? I think this will, no. Oh, because we're constructing a positive non-zero integer. Like that. There, okay. And Clippy didn't complain. Interesting. Oh, here, this is why. I think the more rusty way to do this would be to say match value compared to 0. And then like that. And if it's less, then it's negative. If it's equal, then it's 0. And if it's greater, then it's that. And we get rid of the to-dos. And I put the commas. Oops. Comma. And then this needs to be a borrow. There. I think that's the more rusty way to do it. But there you go. This is the way you normally do it in Rust. And that allows us to get rid of that clippy thing. Yeah, I like this solution best. All right, what's next? Errors 5. This exercise is an altered version of Errors 4. It uses some of the concepts we won't get to until later in the course, like box and the from trait. It's not important to understand them in detail right now, but you can read ahead if you like. For now, think of box din type as I want anything that does question mark. In short, this particular use case for box is for when you want to own a value and you declare only that it is the type which implements a particular trait. To do so, the box is declared as type box din trait. The trait is the trait the compiler looks for on any value used in that context. For this exercise, that context is the potential errors which can be returned in a result. All right, so the first error we have is on line 51. This function should return a result or an option to accept a question mark. And that's it. That's basically the error here, right? In main, saying to do add the correct return type. Oh, I see. So now what we need to do is this parse. I gotcha. This parse, pretend user input dot parse, is on the string, which is converted, which this results in a parse int error, right? Like that. And this returns in a creation error. And what you have to notice is that creation error implements the bare trait error. So the fact that this implements error for creation error, I guess you have to kind of know that parse int error also implements error, this type. It doesn't actually say that anywhere here, does it? So you just have to know that. This is required so that creation error can implement error, and then we implement error. But it doesn't say, and we want to do that also implements error. The error trait. There. I think that would make it a little more understandable for people. So once we know that we can return a result of unit. I just learned it has to be unit and box din error. Now, will this box it automatically? Like that. I don't know. It does. Okay. So somehow there must be something in the library which says it auto converts an error into a box error. And it'd be interesting to know how that works. Anyway, so this is my answer to the problem. It does say to do this, but it doesn't really clue you in, and I think it would be more helpful to have that extra pair of lines there. Scoop says there's a generic impl from T for box T. Okay. Oops. So it must be using that as part of the whole question mark conversion thing. All right, that was errors 5. Next, we have error 6. What do we got? Using catch-all error types like Boxian error isn't recommended for library code where callers might want to make decisions based on the error content instead of printing it out or propagating it further. Here we define a custom error type to make it possible for callers to decide what to do next when our function returns an error. All right. So we have a pause non-zero error. And this is saying to do here is to add another error conversion function. So we have from creation, and we have from parseInt. So I think it's just going to be creating one of these guys. And then we have another to do down here. It says change this to return an appropriate error instead of panicking when parse returns an error. Okay. So I believe what they're saying here is that parse, right? Parse returns, there we go, the result. The result is unwrapped, but we can map it to the from parseInt. So let's see if we can first do that. So error, parseInt error. I keep typing into. And this returns a self. And this is just self parseInt error. So this now allows us to do a map error. Oh no, you can't directly map error on that. I wonder if, will it, no, it won't be able to just convert it this way, right? You're going to actually have to do something to it. Because this is on the string. So this is just a string parsing thing. Wizard suggests impl from parseInt error for parse positive non-zero error. Yeah. I don't think they're trying to go that far, but let's do that after we get this to work. We should be able to say, can we call map error directly on this and then put this as parseInt? Like this. Yeah, so that's all we needed to do. But let's try what Mizard's suggesting. Scoop says, I don't like this method at all. I tend to use impl from blah for my error type for each inner error type I want to use, and then question mark. Yeah, so you and Mizard are talking about the same thing, right? So let's see if I can do this. Impl from parseInt error for where is it? Creation error, right? And we just need a from. And this just should return from a parseInt error to a creation error. So we say creation error parseInt value. Right? And then can we do a question mark down here? Oh, for parse. Oh, for this guy. Gotcha. For this guy. And this should be this as well. Why was I saying creation error? Where did I see that? Yeah, and then we're not using this at all. There. Okay. I saw it here, and I got lost. Thank you for the help. All right, so this seems like a more idiomatic way to do it, to just generate the conversions. It also means we should be able to do it for this guy, right? I should be able to say from creation error for this guy, right? And this just becomes from. Can we just use the self in here? And then instead of doing map error, you can just return it, right? Oh, we have to actually go through the question mark operator. Okay. How's that? It also means that this guy can just be self, which is a little cleaner. So I'm getting all these warnings here from my LSP. I don't know if there's something we can do about that. But I think this is a good solution, right? Nicely idiomatic. You don't need the whole OK return. I left it out and it didn't like it. So we need to convert it somehow. Unless there's an alternate way to do it. Yeah, the errors are different. So it can't automatically convert it from this to this. Going through this impl. I don't know. It would be nice. That would be a nice nice suggestion. Self new into. Okay, we'll try it. No, it doesn't like that. From positive non-zero integer creation error is not implemented for positive non-zero integer parse pos non-integer, which is required by this guy. So it's worth a shot. It was worth a shot. Okay, let's move on to generics. Ooh, generics.